It doesn't matter if it's the first week of school or the first week back from spring break. My students always need writing intervention. So in this video, we're going to discuss the 3 most common writing interventions that my students need and how I actually address these problems in my classroom. If this is your first time to my channel, I'm April Smith. I am an upper elementary teacher that works with teachers to help them bring engaging writing lessons to their classroom and helps fix some of the problems that we have with our students with writing and grammar in particular. So this is my job. I am here to show you exactly how to use interventions to help your students by talking about the 3 most common ones that I see in my classroom. So you probably thought I was going to start with something like grammar or fractions, run-on, something like that, but I'm not. The first intervention that my students always need is writing stamina. So if you're having problems with your students where they don't write for very long, they give up easily, or they don't write at all, you need to intervene with a writing stamina lesson. My writing stamina lesson is super simple. It's nothing that is complicated or anything super fancy. It's literally just us using really fun visual prompts and quick writes, but actually teaching my students about what stamina is, why they need to write for an extended period of time, and having them compete with themselves to continue to write for longer and longer and longer each time. You can use timers. These are great too. My students absolutely love these because they're super colorful, but you don't necessarily need any extra resources for this. I just create a table and have my students graph every single day as their writing stamina increases. And again, we do this lesson with really fun visual prompts so that it can help my students who maybe struggle with a complete writing piece to learn about writing stamina with journaling. The next writing intervention that my students need all the time, especially when they get to me at the first part of the year, is paragraph writing. It doesn't matter if I teach 7th grade ELA or if I teach 5th grade ELA or 3rd grade. My students come to me struggling to write complete sentences, complete paragraphs. It is crazy. For a long time, I couldn't figure out why this was, but after I started working with teachers around the country, I realized that we just really don't have enough time for writing. We don't have enough training and resources to really properly teach this to our students. We're doing the best we can, but it makes sense when there's holes year after year. So if you're a 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade teacher, and you're like, I can't actually teach my students paragraph writing because we're supposed to be doing multi-paragraph essays. Yeah, you can't really move on until you do. So what I do is I use a writing intervention at the beginning of the year if my students need it, and we break down a paragraph, we color code, and we use that every single lesson. So I will intervene whole group. If it's just a few students, I will use small group. That's the great thing about intervention is you can use it in whole group, you can use it in small group, you can use it in one-on-one, you can use it however you need to. And in my interventions, we spend only 10 to 15 minutes each day, and so that allows us to really fit it into a small writing block. The third thing I always find myself doing intervention with my students on is elaboration. Again, this is for every single grade level. My students can have lessons on elaboration every single time we do a writing piece, but there are still many, many students who struggle with it. So we take the extra time to learn about elaboration over and over and over again in lots of different ways, whether it's looking at text to see what elaboration actually does for an overall text, or it's looking at it specifically in an actual small group intervention where we're looking at all the different ways you can elaborate and then having students use that in whatever writing piece they're working on. So elaboration will make a huge difference for your students in their writing pieces. Just in general, it doesn't even matter what type of writing they're doing, but being able to think about how to elaborate, when to elaborate, where to elaborate, and how to actually add that in when they're revising their papers as well. It's all really important to help students keep things going. So this is also ties back to writing stamina. A lot of times students really get burnt out at this point. when they've finished their paragraphs or they're getting kind of to that revision section. So it's always a good idea to throw in elaboration at that point as well. But I will pull small groups of students and I will work on elaboration with them if I've noticed that their writing pieces are really missing that piece. So those are the 3 most common interventions I do with my students. I have many, many more. We'll talk about grammar in a whole other video because that is a whole other topic. But when we're looking at big picture items, really writing stamina, our paragraph writing, and elaboration, those are really make the biggest difference in my students' writing pieces. I realized at the beginning of last year that teachers really needed more intervention materials because most curriculum for writing doesn't actually have intervention or even mention intervention, which is super crazy to me because we need to differentiate for students by pulling students into small groups and working with them, not necessarily just one-on-one and conferencing, but working to fill in those gaps. So having a library of writing intervention resources at your fingertips is so helpful in making this happen in your classroom. Plus, you can also use these interventions in whole group. So if you're interested in this, check the link in the description. I have a link to my full writing intervention library, and we're actually adding lessons in there as we find that students and teachers need them. If you're a Simplify Writing member, this is already included, so just go over to your dashboard, click on Interventions on the main page, and you have access to the entire library. If you want to really focus on writing instruction in your classroom, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and click on the notifications bell because I'm going to be releasing more videos, especially over the summer, about writing instruction and simple ways that you can make a huge difference in your classroom with a very small piece of time for writing. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'm really excited to hear from you all. My favorite thing is to get onto YouTube and to see that someone's commented or asked a question, or email me. I'm always here to help support you in your writing instruction.